And 3, 2, 1, boom. And we're back to another episode of Crack Gamers. This episode brought to you by Zenreal Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and your accessories at zenrealclothingco.com. Be sure to use offer code SoccerTees at checkout for 20% off select items. But if you're not willing to spend the money in these COVID times, totally understandable. Check out the free Zenreal radio playlist, zenrealclothingco.com. Okay, so we checked out...
what did we check out?
Stylebender fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we checked. Yeah. So we checked out the Stylebender fight yesterday.
It's more like we watched the Stylebender.
All right, so we watched we checked out semantics. Okay, we're gonna go with we watched the Stylebender fight yesterday, and
yeah,
I was quite impressed. I really thought he was gonna lose that one. I was shocked. Like with his last one, Yoel Romero, I was like, I feel like you're gonna lose this one only because this dude's so big. If you get hit, if you fight like a regular person. But then I guess he would say like, well, I'm not a regular person. But like if you fight like a regular UFC fighter, you're going to get clipped by Yoel, who is much bigger than him.
Okay.
Remember the boring fight where like the guy stepped in? We watched that one too. And then like he was just kicking the leg. And then they were like, oh, he's running. So then this guy was saying like, oh, he's the champion of running. But like in this one, you saw him do the exact same game plan where it's like the bigger opponents are usually slower and they like put all their weight on their front leg, right? That's why they can do those bursts, like those like charge in burst punches.
Yeah.
And like, so when he took out that leg, it made it so that the opponent couldn't put any more weight on it, and then he couldn't burst anymore, and then he knocked him out. It reminded me of those Zelda games, you know, and Shadow of Colossus, where like you have to climb to the top of the big boss. You have to take out like his eye or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like you have to take out his eye, and then when you take out his eye, you can do the final kill. Right. And I felt like that's how Stylebender's fighting these like bigger opponents. Like he's using their weakness, and then once they're like downed, it's like, okay, I'll go in for the kill. Mm-hmm. You know, you do the same thing in Zelda too. It's like, take out the arm before you take out the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like if you play video games, you totally get this like analogy. Yeah, I really thought he was gonna lose. I really did. Like, cause I was like, cause you know, if he grappled with him, like if you fight this like a regular person, you're 100% gonna lose. But he fought it like a video game player, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is masterful. Yeah. You know, and no fighter's done that. Not even Connor. No fighter's done that. Like Connor was an amazing rise, but he still fought like a fighter, you know? Like this guy barely got hit in that one. Mm-hmm. I remember in the Yoel one, he got hit once and he was like, uh-oh. Like you saw the panic because it's like that was really hard and he couldn't see out of his eye. So then in this one, he just didn't get hit, you know? It was like genius. Yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah. No, like that's what I was seeing, that he was going for that one knee. The side of that knee continues. I saw how it was red. It was getting. Yeah. And he was starting to limp.
Yeah, and then that was it. But that's what I mean. Like boss battle. Like it's like even Final Fantasy VII I'm playing right now. Yeah. It's like the machine's got like 4 arms. You gotta take out the arms before you take out the body. You know, it's like.
But I mean, he did it in a pretty good time. His second round, right, is when it ended. So it was pretty. Like he did enough powerful kicks to the knee that really dismantled the other guy. Yeah.
And you know what it was too about the kicks is the double kick that got him. So like he kicked once, and everybody who gets kicked in the leg, they raise the leg a little bit to like defend it. Yeah. But then when he put the leg back down, Stylebender kicked that leg again. So it was the rap. Like it's like he says like, I'm really good at fighting because I know how to dance. And it's like you could see it. The timing was so perfect. Like Costa would like lift his leg to defend, put the leg back down, and he'd get like kicked
again. Yeah,
it was like, oh, that's how you're doing it.
He had reach on him.
He had reach on him. That was another thing. True. He's like much taller.
Yeah,
but it's weird. Like the guy the closest person that fought him, Kevin Gastelum, is like so much shorter than him, and it's like that was like a war. But he's like Stylebender's like, I don't want. Like you shouldn't keep having wars. You should not be hit because that's like more damage to your brain, right? So like for these ones, you saw that style play out, but like how is the smallest person giving you the hardest time? You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. Maybe it's like their fighting styles, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I don't know how they do, what training they do, and like kind of like true. What are you preparing for, right? If you knew how to handle
true.
Other opponent.
And I didn't see him using that like leg kick trick until Yoel. So maybe he didn't think of it until like later, you know. That could have been it too. I don't know. But it was really good.
Like the other guy could not do his kicks on him. It's just it wouldn't reach.
Yeah, it wouldn't reach, and there'd start to be no power. If you take out your weighted leg, there's no power anymore. Yeah. So genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see much of a strategy from the other guy. Like right away from the beginning, they were very.
No, they're brawlers. Like
no, I know, but he didn't go in.
No, like
he didn't have a chance to go in.
I see what you mean. Like there's no strategy, but that's what I mean. It's like Stylebender's the first one who I saw like, wow, you're actually like playing this. You know, like usually fighters as well as like if you fought this like a regular fighter, they just like go in there. They kind of have a game plan, but they're fighting. They're in it to scrap.
I got you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like it looks like Stylebender's not willing to scrap. Some call that like, oh, he's running, but like, no, it was like masterful.
No, he's using his abilities where it's better for him, right? Why would that be running? It's if you have reach, you should use that.
Totally,
it's part of the whole game, right?
For sure. But even people like John Jones, who's like arguably the best, who's like never been defeated as well. He's got crazy reach. But like the only difference between him and Stylebender is that like John Jones is willing to grapple with you.
Yeah.
Stylebender always disentangles.
Right.
Like his whole grappling game is just how do I get back to striking? Because that's like my best skill. Like John Jones is willing to like go to the floor with you or like you know, but it's like but you're not that good at it. So why are you gonna open yourself up to that danger?
The other guy should have been more like rushing in more if that's what he wants. True. If he's a grappler, then. You know,
for sure, and but I think it was the fear because Stylebender's like he's a counter puncher, so when you rush in, it's more likely he'll knock you out,
right?
Than if you don't rush in, you know. So I think like maybe that was holding him back.
It's a bit of both, right? I mean, but you have to take those risks if you're better at that. You have to. You still lost, right? It's like
it's funny that you say that because like that was the complaint for. So some people loved. So I loved the Yoel Romero fight, but people didn't like it. And they were like giving like slack to Stylebender, right? They're like, "Oh, you're running," but it's like, no, Yoel should have just chased him more. You know, he should have like went in, tried like his wrestling, tried everything. You know, it's like because you're
exactly. Yeah, you should be doing what you're good at, like which is
and you should put it all on the line because you're trying to go for the belt. Like he already has the belt, so it's like he doesn't need to do anything like to put himself into danger. Like why, you know? And I remember he even said that too in his Yoel fight. He's like in the post fight they're like, oh, why didn't you scrap with him? And he's like, this is money on the line. Why am I going to like go out there to appease fans who want to see like blood? But they don't understand fighting. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, totally. If you get the game, it's like, no, you're playing this perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his fans are Nigerian and stuff. They love that he wins.
Totally. So exactly. They care more about the winning than the fact that you're like a brawler. You know? But you like, remember when I showed you Costa and then I showed you Stylebender, you're like, yo, he's so skinny. It was like, so you don't look like a brawler, bro. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, why are you expecting him to be a brawler? He doesn't have those attributes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know? He's not as built as that guy at his upper body, right? So
exactly. Yeah. So it made no sense. Yeah.
Then maybe you should say like, well, maybe the other guy should be kicking more. Like, you
know,
totally,
like, what do you say? You'll always make up something.
Yeah.
It was weird too. Like
a fight's a fight, right? Whatever the rules are. If the rules are there, you can't be like this distance. Well, then make those rules.
Yeah, totally. It's not there. Exactly. Yeah, like make the cage smaller then if you want to see them like brawl.
Yeah.
It was weird, like watching all those leg kicks. I honestly thought his leg was gonna like pop out at one point.
Yeah, I heard because you had it on the headphones. Yeah, I was hearing it from your headphones.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Those kicks. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that
like
hurts.
the thwacks were so loud. But I really thought like one of those could land wrong, and then you're gonna end up like blowing out his ACL or something.
Yeah, just snapping it.
Yeah. Like especially those like those front leg kicks to the top of the knee. If you land that right, you could just make it bend the wrong way.
Right.
You know, imagine if that happened. He just snapped his leg in the wrong way.
After seeing it happen once.
Oh yeah, with
Anderson
Silva.
Oh my god, like that's always what I just think about. Like when you do kicks, it's just
like just watch out, bro.
Yeah,
that's so painful. But it's interesting too, like because Anderson is Israel's what do you call that? Like
mentor?
Idol. No,
Idol?
not mentor.
Okay,
Not mentor.
Idol.
Idol, yeah. So like, it's interesting that that's the comparison that you brought up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we were feeling that too, like, don't break a leg here. But also from the opponent's side, it's like, you might break his leg too. Because it was getting, like, worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were even preparing for that. Like, I saw that is this Carlos? What's his name? Carlos or his opponent?
Oh, Paulo Costa.
Oh, Costa, yeah. Like he had those red marks on his calves, like those.
So those
I think
were...
you were saying.
Sorry. No, not a COVID cough. It's cupping. So it's muscle releasing.
Okay.
So like, what it does is like, it pulls the blood out, and then when new blood comes in, it's like fresher. I don't know if it really works, but it's like a new fad thing right now. Right. But yeah, is when you said like, oh, there's red marks, and I was seeing like the cupping.
Yeah,
and then,
I saw
like,
that.
As it kept going, I was like, oh, that's the red mark you meant. Like, like his whole knee was like ripped apart. You know.
Well, I saw the cupping first, right? And then I started to see his knee go fully, like the side of his knee go
so
red.
You were talking about the cupping in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, that's like a healing thing.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Is that like any way to? Was that like
stronger or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I don't.
Does
I
it
don't
do
know.
anything?
It just
like, were they
releases,
expecting him to do these kicks? Is there?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what their mentality is behind that. I just know that that's more of like a muscle release thing.
I don't know if I noticed it on the other leg. That's why.
No, it wasn't anywhere else on his body.
So that's what I was.
Yeah.
Maybe specifically they knew.
Maybe
kicks
actually,
are coming.
Yeah.
Not I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, but yeah, that makes sense. It's like, because why is it only on that one leg?
Mm-hmm.
That was a little weird. Or maybe Stylebender saw it and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna attack that."
That's true.
Like, he's like,
that's true.
You're trying to heal that leg, eh?
Yeah, maybe something went wrong in training. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the post fights soon, and then hear like maybe Costa's gonna make like some excuse. Like, it'd be cool if he's like, "Oh, he was better than me." Like, that's cool to hear. But like, if he's like, "Oh, I had an injury in my leg," BS like that. Yeah. It was funny. Stylebender. I saw like a highlight of it. You know, he dyed his hair pink in the beginning. So like before the fight, when we were all in lockdown, he like dyed his hair pink for this event. And then he was saying that his dad said, if you blind him, he's still going to be able to see you because of your bright pink hair. Right? So he's like, you're right. So he shaved his head. That's why he was like bald for this fight. Because he's like, I need to get rid of this. Because if you are blind, it will make it easier for you to hit me. You know, again, like a video game, you know, like let's get rid of.
No, I noticed that with my Call of Duty too. I was wearing an orange shirt.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is too bright.
Yeah.
And I saw someone else wearing a red shirt. Like, that's too bright. I can see you. So.
Yeah, totally. And with the guns too, like when you put like a colorful skin on.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can see your like barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. See, video games, man. Literally, like he's fighting like a video game. That's why I'm so impressed by him.
Well, he's
like,
very influenced by that too, right?
He is, like anime, video games, and stuff. Yeah. Well, he's like 2 years younger than me, I think, or 1 year younger than me. No, I think 2 years. So he's within our Matrix era.
Right.
Matrix baby generation thing.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny too. It's funny too because like he definitely is influenced by it because his Twitter head banner is him as Morpheus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's the Matrix baby generation, you know? Right. You're seeing the world like a game, which is what they kind of told you in the Matrix. So that's probably why he's fighting like a game.
Okay.
Yeah, cool stuff. Any final thoughts on Stylebender before we move on to another thing?
No, I thought it was because you were really upset, like or
worried,
concerned, or
that was the first time I was ever like but
it wasn't because of that. It was that in the first place, like seeing the two people, but it was like throughout the UFC, all the ones that you picked were losing, right?
Yeah.
So it was like adding on to the list.
And I was like, oh my god, if he loses two, that'd be crazy. I'm like 0 for 5.
Right.
But like with this one, like he didn't really do too much, or maybe I just didn't watch enough of his interviews, but it felt like he was different for this one. You know, like, because it's like when like his whole goal is like he wants to take out he wants to fight often and he wants to fight all the best, so that like you're like, oh, he came in and slaughtered the entire thing and he left. Like that's his goal, just beat everyone that's good and then leave. So like he beat everyone. This was his last one, but this one was like, meh, who is Paulo Costa? You know what I mean? It wasn't like he fought Anderson Silva, and that's like still one of my favorite. That's my favorite fight of all time, actually. That Anderson Silva one, because like they were like, it was like an anime fight because they kept dodging each other's shots and like, but like, who knows who this guy is? And then at the end, he like called out. He didn't call him out. He's just like, if you beat the old champion, I'll fight you next to this other guy. But I don't even know who the other guy is. So it's like, who else are you gonna fight now? You know what I mean? So it's like you've already taken out all the ones that we're all like impressed by. So now after this victory, it's like what else are you gonna do?
I don't know. I see it on Twitter. It's
okay.
There's like another.
There's another coming up guy. There's always gonna be a coming up guy.
Or I don't know if they would fight. I guess it's just saying that it was like 2 Nigerian champions representing the biggest stage for Nigeria.
That's Usman.
Yeah.
Usman and Stylebender.
Yeah.
That's cool. I saw like before as a cool like tidbit, this guy who is his teacher, Stylebender's teacher back in Nigeria. He's like, oh, it's Professor, or like it's Mr. whatever. Do you remember me? Like, it was good to see you. And then he posted, Stylebender saw it and posted a video like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long. You know, he's like really trying to big up his culture, in
this community.
Yeah. I like that. That's like really cool. Like cultural, cultural expression, being who you are, like all these things, these like tenets that he espouses is cool. Be yourself, believe in yourself. It's cool to be a nerd.
I think was he the first one with like really putting on like the whole Naruto stuff?
There's one dude, Michael Venom Page in Bellator.
But does he like wear the clothes?
Oh yeah, he came out in a whole Akatsuki. It was like I gotta show you after. It's like. It was a little weird. So like he came out in the whole uniform, had like the dagger in his mouth, had that bandana. Like he came out as a Naruto character.
Oh,
but it's
wow.
like it's like you're too far, bro. Like
he doesn't do that.
No,
but he's got like shirts or like dress shirts.
It's like cool style, but also hyping up. Shout out Hypeland because that's where he gets his Naruto stuff. It's like a streetwear brand that uses anime. Yeah, I
like that he did know. Like one of those intro things.
Like, that's one. Yeah. Okay. So I thought that was really cool. So because he realizes that. That's so funny. I thought we were gonna move on, but yeah, there's so much to dissect here. But he realizes, like through his interview, he's like, I'm just like you're all my fan. Like you're all watching me play out this role.
Yeah.
So I am player one. I'm going to play this like a video game. So like before I get to that, you know how they were showing the tweets in the side thing. I was watching this UFC fight. I think I told you as it happened, but it was funny. He's like, I'm going to tweet this so that you will put me on the TV. And then it came out. It was so funny.
I remember
like,
that.
Right? It's like, do you know, like he knows all of the trolling, all of the memes because he's like, oh, I'm a fan first, right? So like he posted, so he was on the cover of EA Sports and of the new UFC, and they say like there's a curse because everyone that was on it lost. Right. So then he posts a picture on his Instagram of him in the belt and he's like, what EA curse? Right. Like he's like doing all these references. Right. So another funny one, this is one you brought up, but like Costa did his whole regular routine. And I was like filming because like, oh, he's like Stylebender is going to do something really cool. But then the announcer said like, there's no audience. And he, like Adesanya told him like, there's no audience. Why do I need to do this? Like there's no energy for it. Right. So then he came out just like you said, and he just like walked in the ring, and it was like, okay, like let's fight, because it's like there's nothing, like nobody's cheering. Yeah. Remember Costa? He like did the whole like crowd kiss.
But there's no.
You said, it's like, you're like, does he know that there's nobody here? It's like, yeah, man, you look really
like,
dumb doing
look
that.
At the camera. Yeah, totally. At least that's okay, but like you didn't look at the camera.
He looked really dumb. I think it was like pre-programmed. He's done it so many times.
Yeah, like, maybe like a ritual thing. I don't know, but it's like it's a bit, it's a bit weird.
But that's why it was cool to see Stylebender. He's like, well, there's nobody here. Like I'm just gonna fight them. Yeah. But then at the end when he won, that's when he celebrated.
Because that's an understandable one.
Yeah. Like you're celebrating.
The camera's on you anyway. So.
Totally. But like in the beginning, why do we need to like do a dance number? But he did that right when
I know
because like there was a crowd, so like they were hyped, but like. who's gonna get hyped if you do like a dance number.
Yeah.
It's almost like he knows he's in. It's like if you know you're in the Matrix, then why do you need to play to the Matrix's rules? Like if you're not thinking sentiently, you're going to do those things like Costa. It's like well, I've done this a million times. Why don't I do it again? But then you could see like the sentience and Stylebender where it's like, no, like really look at it. Nobody's here. Why am I going to go off? You know?
Yeah. No, but even the one at the end, like once you won, that was more like kind of like the Fortnite thing where you just do those random, like you dance. Like it was like a.
Dude, I didn't even catch that.
It's like that.
That's so true. Yeah, that's true. It's like those celebrations in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because he was going off. Like he was doing like breakdancing and like, yeah. That's true. Yeah, more like video game styles. Yeah. But I don't know, like the only person, because he said like the final boss in the video game, like the Shao Kahn of UFC, like Mortal Kombat Shao Kahn.
Yeah.
The final boss is John Jones.
Oh.
He's like, I'm gonna fight him as my final. Like that's like the final boss in the video game because he's the hardest one to beat. So he said it like that. I was like, oh, that's a cool analogy. But the only problem is that John Jones just relinquished his light heavyweight title, and he's going up to heavyweight.
Oh, so
how are you gonna fight him?
Yeah.
You know. So I think that's why at the end of this one, he didn't call out John Jones. He just said like,
we don't know.
Like no, he said he DM'd. He's like, before this fight,
okay.
I DM'd my next opponent, and I was like, hey man, like I'll fight you next if you do a good show with Darren Till.
Right.
Or no, not Darren Till.
So we know who that is then.
Yeah, we know he is.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy something. See, I don't know who it is because it's like it's like an it's like a new up and coming. It's not like these people that like have these crazy names behind them. You know, it's more like he's good, but he's not like an A-list. You know, like Stylebender already took out all the A-list celebrities, so now it's like, why are you gonna fight B-list people? You know what I mean? Like, I think he's ranked like 4 or 5, so it's like, yeah,
okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like, why don't you just walk away now? Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Yeah. No.
And it's not even for money because he took the earnings and then he invested in land. He's like, so what? He's like, I'm gonna do it like the Chinese and invest in land. He's like, I learned from my dad, who's an accountant. So like, he gave his dad the money, or doctor, no, accountant, I think. So he gave his dad the money, and then he just like bought up all this land. So he's good. He's set now. So it's like, you don't really need to keep fighting.
Right.
It's more of the storyline now for why you're fighting. But your final boss is in heavyweight. Are you going to go to heavyweight? You know, I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's
like, you're really small, bro.
Yeah,
Unless you just fight him at like heavyweight and you're still this weight, you know?
You can do that?
Super fight. You just don't. There's nothing on the line. It's just like
oh, I see.
It's just like a fight. Or like they call it like a catch weight. So they'll like agree on a weight that they'll both be at. So I'm assuming it'll be like a middle ground.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because even for this one, like, he weighed in 1 pound under the limit. So, like, you're supposed to fight at 185, right? So Costa made 185, but he's a big guy, right? Stylebender, like, he did the weight cutting, and he ended up at 184 instead of 185. Because it's, like, easy for him to cut weight, right? Because he doesn't, like, his metabolism's so high.
So the other just have to agree, or like,
yeah, I guess it could be anything actually. Like, as long as you just agree to something.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. All right, so I also wanted to get to this because I thought it was so interesting. Speaking of marketing, speaking of marketing, all right, our second wave, let's get into that.
Yeah.
So remember in the beginning that, well, I thought this was cool, they were saying like the second wave would be coming, but then I read this article about how the second wave isn't actually a wave. It's like it's like based on human behavior. So like, as we go out, the virus can spread. It's not like gonna suddenly gain more power because the sun's out, and then like, you know, and then doctors are saying like, we don't like calling it a wave because then it implies that you can just wait for it to end and then you're okay again. But it's like, no, the virus didn't go away. It was just dormant because we weren't here. Yeah. You know? And yeah, and then like
I never like from my perspective, I never thought it was going away. Yes, it's just we're all staying inside. Of course, it's going to be less. So like when we all go back out, it's going to go back. It's
right,
going to go up again.
Right, but,
So like,
but that's not the marketing that they put out, right? Like they just kept calling it like a second wave's coming, but they didn't say it's tethered to our behavior. You know, like I was watching those speeches every day with Trudeau, and he like always alluded to a second wave, but he never said like it's because of us that a second wave will happen.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Like he was implying it like how they were saying in the article, like don't like reference it like a cyclical thing. Just say like it's totally tethered to our actions.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where we all got caught up in that. I mean, like I even did a little bit. Like I was thinking it was like, isn't it a part of our actions? Like I didn't understand like how that worked. Is it like,
well, of course that's how it spreads.
Totally. But like again, that's not how they market it. So
I don't know. Maybe I was listening to a lot of different things, so that's why I didn't feel like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, if you just, I guess, get one source, maybe you...
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't really care enough about it. It didn't affect me too much in a specific way. So it's like, I was just watching only those daily... Actually, I was only watching them because I had to, like, do it for work, remember? Like, I was like, I had to adjust my messaging according to...
Right. Yeah. So I think it's just, like, how much news did you get? Like, I don't know. Like, I think it...
So you're saying on other sources, they kept saying... It was like,
yeah, I mean, like we even heard it too. Like you've heard that before, where they said it's going to be here for like 2 years or something.
Yeah, but I thought like again, like a wave, like cyclical. Like it's like, oh, it's going to die down, come back up.
No, I just thought like in the general sense that it's going to be with us till it eventually goes, or enough people have had it that it becomes herd immunity or something like that.
Right. Okay.
That was my thinking. Like when they talk about it, like it's going to be here for 2 years. Or like they said that too, right? So.
Again, it's weird. Like framing is so important because you have to like listen to it, and then you have to see like how it's said.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like how you.
Well, that's why it's about. It's not like you don't just listen to the politicians and believe them. You have to look at. Then you got to go towards the reporters. So what questions are they asking?
But then, how freaky is it that we're like we can't believe the politicians?
No, put them in power. That's what the point is. The reporters put them in those spots, right? So, like, I always watch the Q&A when they ask those questions to them, not just the speech that they do.
Okay.
So in the questions, you can get more answers.
Yeah, but they're always so like shifty. I've watched those too. But they're so shifty about it. Like,
no, I know, but again, it's how you ask those questions, and you can tell what's shifty, what's not. I feel like.
Isn't that? But like, what does that mean about?
Well, it's not about being shifty. It's about like they might not have the answers. They're also trying to appease to the people. It's like you have to say it in a way that it makes sense, but also not that it like you have. Oh, it's going to be really worse. You can't necessarily say that because you don't know either, right?
Right. I don't know. I think like this whole COVID thing is like really cracking. It's like showing the cracks in our like system. You know, like who would have seen? Like even as simple as saying like, oh, the second wave isn't like cyclical. It's like attached to human behavior. But it's like, but you had to read into that to get to that conclusion. But if you just look at it topically, it's like, oh, it's cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
like all the things that we're getting now, it's from the summer or the last couple of weeks.
Exactly, but right? They don't frame it like that. It's like, oh, new case today.
Yeah.
But it's like new case today from 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, yeah, like when did they catch it, right? Like
exactly,
it could have been in the last couple of weeks. Then they went to get tested. But the thing is also we're doing more tests now than we did in the beginning.
So I want to get into that as well because like so speaking of framing, I saw this thing. I think it was in his throne speech, but he was like, in March we were getting 43 cases a day, and now we're getting over like 1,500 cases a day, or like totally in Canada. And then I was like, he didn't say totally though. Like he just said 1,500 cases. And I was talking to your brother about this. I was like, he didn't split the numbers. He didn't say 43 cases in Ontario, but globally we're getting 1,000 now. You know, he just like left that part out. He just took the numbers that were advantageous to his agenda. You know. I find that weird too. It's like, but again, you wouldn't have known that if you didn't like really dig into it, look at it.
Yeah, you have to really listen. You can't believe everything. But like we know that.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting to. It's like if you can't believe everything you hear, it's like who do you trust?
It's more about like what are the actions they're actually taking. Those are the things you have to actually look at.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right, like him doing the SERB thing, that's a good thing. Nobody was doing that.
But the SERB thing, he tried to bring it down.
No, that's an endpoint. Like SERB has officially ended.
Yeah, no.
As of yesterday.
Yeah, no. But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is like him bringing it down, and then you were talking about like because it was he has a new one.
It's
like
connected
SERB
to
2.0.
Yeah, or connected to EI. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
So it was gonna be 1600.
Yeah. I don't know if everyone can get it. It's not like everyone can get SERB when it was there. But now if it's tied to EI, I don't know if everyone can get it.
Because you have to like prove unemployment.
Yeah. I think that's going to be in there. Yeah.
Because that was the thing I was noticing. Like for the EI one, it's like you have to show that you've been looking for work and you can't turn down any work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I've been like very strategic. I'm like, because if I get an offer, it's like you can't turn it down.
Yeah.
That's one of the clauses, but they don't tell you that unless you read it like fully. But what I wanted to get to was like the 1600 that he proposed, because we're in a minority government. But then you were like the NDPs argued for making it 2000 again,
Mm-hmm.
and they won that. So in winning that, they got them as allies, and now we're not going to an election.
Yeah. It'll be officially tomorrow when we find that out. But yeah, it looks like it won't be an election.
But isn't that weird? It's like you were saying, like backroom deals, like they're like, okay, well, let's bring it down because we know that. I mean, like this can like hypothetical.
No, I'm saying like if they did do 500 off the bat, if they did 2,000 off the bat,
What could you argue for?
maybe they could argue for other things that we can't necessarily get.
So yeah, so with the way the politics works in Canada is like you have like conservative, NDP, Liberal, and La Québécois. Is there one more? Green Party. Yeah. But so what it is like you're allying together.
Well, under a minority government,
you have to do those
ally.
things. So it's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, under a minority government because you don't have majority of the seats, right? That's what. If you have a majority government, then you can do your thing.
Yeah.
And then minority, you have to work together. So there's a lot of compromise. There's a lot of
right. So
involved.
This was an interesting hypothetical theory, but if you drop the SERB thing to 1600, but you could still pay 2000, but you drop it because you know that they're going to argue for 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, if you want 2000, we're going to work together then. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's like you were like playing chess and you're 10 moves ahead.
Yeah.
You know?
Like that's what I heard on the radio.
Maybe.
It's like, oh, if they can easily just agree to the 500 per week, so 2000, well, they could have always done that in the first place. I was like, then in my head, I was thinking like, yeah, but they wanted to make a deal so that they wouldn't go to election.
Exactly. And that's why it's genius because like.
But also an NDP can't afford to go to election. That's another thing I found out later.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't make, like there's like a cutoff, like if you make over 13% or something, you get some funding. I don't know the exact percentage. You get like funding for the next election or something like that. Some money is added to the thing. If you don't make it, you don't get that money. You have to raise it yourself. Something like that.
So they had to raise it themselves?
So I don't think they made the cutoff in this minority government that we're in. So they can't afford to go, because we just had an election last year, right?
Yeah.
So they can't afford to go to an election also.
Afford as in like they can't pay for like TV advertisements.
Yeah.
Like campaigns and
like doing these sort of things. They don't have the money to do it at the moment. So you have to make a deal. They don't want to go to an election.
Right.
Why would,
So, okay. How can people not see that governments are run like businesses? You know what I mean? Like this is like such a business this is very like.
Well, within the parties, sure, but like what the government does is not what I don't know.
It is
services,
so, like taxes are like money in the pot, and then you decide what you're going to spend it on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's also a business thing. It's like revenue. It's almost like running like a nonprofit.
It is. It's a mixed bag. Because they deal with services, like what kind of things to give to people.
Yeah.
Based on our taxes that we're giving, right? So it's like
and like the prime minister is sort of like the CEO of the country.
Yeah.
You know, he's making.
Well, he's representing the country. Yeah, that's why.
But there's always a board member. Like so, like in public company, there's like a board
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
directors, and then like the CEO, like Apple had like Steve Jobs as CEO, but there was still like a board. Right?
Mhm.
Did they go private again? No, they're still public.
No, they're public.
Yeah, okay. So then, yeah, they still have a board. So it's sort of like that, you know, like countries are like public companies.
Mm-hmm.
But then with that, it's like, even though like so, because they're run like that, there are also pitfalls to business, which is like, you know, like the deals, like the unscrupulous ethics, like the thing with the We Charity that was happening.
Yeah,
Is like he
yeah.
got his mom like a job or something like that. It's like,
Well, not him. It is a whole different thing. That
But-
was them giving, like doing charity money or the funding for charities. They focused giving it to We Charity, I guess, and then they found out like, oh wait, they had hired like people in his family that had done speeches for We Charity.
it's like this.
So it kind of was biased.
Yeah. It's this like arm's reach thing where it's like
Yeah.
you can't do business with people who are within arm's reach to you. So it's like friends and family. Like it's like ethically,
Yeah.
because then there's going to be obvious bias, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's like, yeah, but if you're not in that circle, you know what I mean? Like, so okay,
Well, he should not have been in the room when they decided who they're going to give the charity, like which charity they were going to give money to.
right, okay.
If he wasn't in the room when they decided, then that's fine.
But there's also like other things that I'm sure we don't even see that like go on that are just like that. Like that this one's just like publicized right now, right? But it's like, but so many things are going on.
No, I seen it once. I seen it once. Like, cause I had to go for like school, like listen to one of those city council thingies or whatever, or local committee one. And one guy who was in the government side, it's like, oh, I know this person, so I have to step out.
Oh, okay.
Well, there are people that follow through with these sort of things.
But there are some of those, or like
I would say many of those. There are many of those. There are some that won't, I guess.
But I mean, like there's sometimes like that guy who won in our area where we grew up. I went to university with that guy. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to name his name, but like, yeah. So like he won, and then like I was like, how did this guy win? Because like in our area, it was just like so much hate for him, but he won because of like default.
Default?
Yeah, because the conservatives won, so he naturally got into that position or something like that.
No, it's not like that. No, that means he did win. He did get voted in
by people.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that in the riding that he won via votes?
Yeah.
So people actually voted for him?
I guess so.
Weird. Okay, I wonder how that worked, because it's like there was so much hate.
Well, maybe in our area, like we don't know, like it's a big area, right?
I guess.
Or a decent size. I don't know how big it is, but like, I guess people wanted a conservative, right?
I guess, yeah. It's just weird to see, like, I mean, I guess maybe it's been
but we
a while.
go back and forth.
That's
we go back and forth. I don't know how he campaigned. Like, what was he saying that they specifically wanted, right? Or did people?
I kind of feel like, I don't know if it was like a racial thing.
Okay.
Like if a Filipino was going to, I really do. Or like analyzing it, because he was the only non-Caucasian runner. No. Who else was there?
There was a black person, I think.
Okay. Well.
Well, we also don't know everyone that's running.
You're right. So there are
I believe
other
so.
ethnicities.
I believe so.
I'm just saying. But like, so there's a huge. I'm not saying the area is racist. I'm just,
no.
But there's a big there's a community.
Yeah.
Of his thing. Like, even the people campaign, like this, how I saw him campaigning. I had no idea he was campaigning, and then I saw like one of his friends or whatever, like, or people who work with him come up, and then like they were campaigning for it. But maybe we shouldn't go down this road. we're just gonna
I don't think it's that necessarily. I just think it was just based on like people wanted conservative.
Okay.
Right, or liberal. It was just like
really?
it was
So?
I think there was like a shift at that time where it's like they weren't happy with whoever it was
but that's also so weird because
league.
like because I thought it was funny. Like I have some of his like hate mail things. Like
Okay.
you know, like the anti, like he's hurting our. Oh, don't let him do this.
No, of course,
Yeah,
there's going to be a group of people.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it could be like 10,000 voted
wait,
and
wait,
12,000 voted for the other guy. You know, it's like this. It's
Okay.
if maybe it's 50-50.
So you're saying
It's really down
that
to-
like ethnicity has nothing to do with it?
No, I don't think so.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, it could be an influence for people who are.
Let me go back to that Filipino example.
Yeah.
If there was somebody running in our area who's Filipino,
Mhm.
you don't think that all of my family is going to be like, vote for this person?
Well, if he was conservative,
I don't know. Maybe.
yeah,
I
no, I'm
think
just
so.
saying
Yeah,
it
he's like,
depends.
let's get a Filipino
No,
in
it
there.
depends on where your thing lies. No, like
I don't know.
if it was me, like
Yeah.
I'm going liberal most of the time because I agree with what they do.
But I wonder if it's like a
And-
herd mentality thing. This is what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the cracks in the system, it's like it's not a objective system.
Yeah. No. Of course, there's that
That's what I'm
influence
saying.
there.
It's
Of
like-
course, that
it's like-
influence is there. Yeah.
It's like we don't have a perfectly run organizational body.
Well, nothing's perfect. That's
Yeah,
why.
but isn't
That's
that
the whole
weird?
point of
It's
this.
like-
That's why elections happen every few years.
Yeah, totally. But it's like, how can you have faith in a system that you're supposed to have faith in? That's not
No, I think it's done a lot good in general overall,
okay.
right? And these things are small steps, but this is how government works, right?
I don't know. I'm like I see your point. I'm erring on the side of the people, or maybe it's like maybe
No,
it's,
but this is the best we can do, I
or-
think.
But
Mhm.
maybe it's this. Maybe because of the influences I surround myself with are like related to what do you call that? Like free thinking, like they're like poking holes in it,
Mhm.
right? But like maybe the general populace is like, it is what it is.
Mhm.
You know, and like people don't care enough.
People
to-
don't really care enough.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
That's also yeah.
that's also why we have like another anti-objective system. You know,
Anti-objective.
like it's not we're not thinking objectively about everything.
No.
I think it's herd mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a portion of that.
But
yeah.
but that's why I go back to the guy. Like, how did that guy win? There was so much hate around him. But now
But that
I'm
was
wondering if it's
like-
an ethnicity thing
No, but that's again
or a conservative thing.
Yeah,
Like,
but you have to look at
okay.
you have to look at the whole thing. You can have a subjective experience.
Oh
of
no
it.
no no! Or so wait hold on. Like you said, you're like, okay, actually that actually proves my point, because you're like, oh, maybe he was just conservative and people want conservatives. So it's like, yeah, so you won by default.
That's what I'm saying.
You weren't actually the best candidate. You were just the conservative candidate.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm
it
getting
depends
at,
on what you mean by best candidate. They didn't think that the liberal was the best candidate.
or they wanted a conservative run.
Yeah,
person in
that's
the
the
area.
point. They didn't want a liberal. They didn't think liberal was the best candidate.
No. Okay. Wait. No. Hold on. Let's separate it. There's the team, and then there's the individual.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that they're disregarding the individual in favor of the team.
Well, yeah, because it shifts between liberal, generally between liberal
Right, so that's
and
not
conservative.
objective.
If they're not happy with what's going on with the liberal,
Right.
they're going to try the other guy.
But that's what I mean about
Yeah.
not being objective. You don't care who the mouthpiece is. You care about the team. Right? Because the team is related to the bigger picture. Because
Yeah.
remember, I was like, how is this? He didn't even show up for the debate. Your parents went to that thing. It's like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So like all these things adding up, like how did you win?
But how many people go to that? Like it's also a community
Still,
thing.
it's like,
No.
okay.
It's a community thing. Not everybody can go to that, right? That's
do
like
you mean?
to go to the debate to see the thing that he wasn't there.
The politician. Oh no! What I'm saying,
The
what I'm-
politician, yeah, but I'm
should have
saying
went
like
to the
who would
debate.
know that he didn't go there?
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, look at the cracks in the system. It's
No,
a
I
team
know
thing.
that I get it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but that majority of people don't know that, right? They're not going to the debate. They're not going to watch a debate.
No. Exactly. That's,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Nobody cares about the mouthpiece, the individual. They care about the team.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you won.
Yeah.
But that's not
So
objective.
the team was
Uh-huh.
again focused on Ford. They're looking at
That's
Ford.
that's what I mean. But that's
Yeah.
why I said he won because he was conservative.
Yeah,
in the
so they
beginning of
agreed with
this.
the Ford, so they're gonna go conservative. Like that.
But that's why I said like it's weird that he won because he won just because he was a part of the team. Like it's like you're not actually a better candidate. Like like
Well, it depends. Maybe that's what I don't know. Like this is how it goes. It's like to me, he's not the best candidate. Maybe to someone else, right? Was it all because they were wanting to go conservative? Like you can't say that. We don't know that
but what I'm saying is
necessarily.
I think that's why there's so much like
No, I think in our like small area is very like liberal
okay.
oriented, right? So maybe that's also like these are the guys that will push because they saw that our numbers are going down, so they're trying to push that we don't want him to win.
Okay.
Right. Like there's also there's a lot of pollings that happen too. Like you kind of tell where it's shifting.
Okay. Well, yes, I see what you mean. But what I'm getting at is like the personal, like the person. So like, okay.
Yeah, but you know him versus other people don't really know him, right?
That's exactly what I mean. And
Yeah.
I also know the other candidate. I taught the other candidate's kids.
Okay.
So like, the other one that won.
Oh, okay.
So like they're both winning. So I think maybe for me, because I know these two people on a personal level, it's like
Exactly.
I don't have faith in them.
Exactly. So, but how? Yeah, exactly.
But
you have a personal influence there, right?
yeah, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah, but
like,
if
how did
you
do
campaign
that?
a certain way, I don't know how a person is. I don't know how
But that's what
Trudeau's actually like.
But this is what I'm saying.
I can only go based on his
his media,
or policies.
which are not really his own because he's paying for the team, right?
No, I know that's what I'm saying.
But
If I agree with the policies, right?
But this is what I'm saying. It's like what an unobjective system where it's like nobody's paying enough attention to anything to actually do anything related to it. It's like how can you have it's like you have one piece of evidence, one side of evidence, and then you're making your judgment based on that rather than looking at both sides of the coin. Actually, I'm answering my own question because who really looks at both sides? That's why you follow people that you don't like.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, what are you both saying? And I'm going to go with the one that makes the most sense. I think we talked about this in the last podcast about like having sentience is understanding both sides and then choosing.
Yeah.
But then here I am talking about the flaws of our system. It's like, yeah, because we're not objective. We're not looking at both sides.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that is what it is.
Yeah.
Because it was the
also,
time
it's
to
like
look at.
how many. Well, again, there's so many different things like to look at too. There's like percentage wise, it's like I can only go to like I don't know the ones in our local area, but like in America, it's like there's a portion only voting for Democrats, a portion only voting for Republican.
Okay.
But then there's a huge percentage in the middle.
Who don't care or what?
No, who are like independents. They can go either way. Those are you're really when you're doing campaigning, you're really going for those people. You're going for the independents and trying to pull them into you to you basically, whichever side it is.
Right.
Democrats or Republican. It's really the independents who decide who wins.
Interesting.
Because they can go both ways. And then there's a portion of people that don't vote. If you can get those people to come to you, like there's
so
like
it's a game.
You have to convince them. Why are they not voting? Because you are not saying anything that they want to hear.
Wow.
That they don't want whatever you're saying, they don't want that. So they're not voting. So how do you convince the people who are not voting to vote for you?
Interesting.
So you have to speak their language.
Interesting.
Right? That's the same thing with independents.
What do you think about like a decentralized system of world governance? So like I heard this on this podcast. They're saying like, what if there was no countries because of globalization?
Right.
But then I automatically thought like, well, what about trade? Like that's really why we have countries, because businesses, right? Like different laws and stuff. But like I'm wondering what the best system is. Maybe it's like you have like one unified body of governance, and then like.
Well, that's what the European Union tried to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Europe.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I was thinking
But then what
something like
happened?
that. They all split up.
Not all. Brexit wanted to get out.
Yeah.
It's like No. We can't help countries that are not doing well. How could we do that?
True. Okay, so there's no altruism. I'm just like,
No, like we have to deal with what we are right now. We have countries. How can we go to a place where there's no countries? I don't think we can do that. Like you got to look at the reality that we're in.
I think maybe
Like trade is the only thing that would be the like above it all, right?
yeah, totally.
But that's still that's within countries, but you're making the trade and stuff with other countries near you or whatever.
Yeah.
That's how you.
That's what I mean. Like you still need countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get rid of them. But like I'm just trying to figure out like what is the best way to like govern it all. Like, is there a best system that you've seen so far that you're like, oh, this one like looks pretty good?
No, everything
is subject to
everything grows on
humanity.
its own, whichever direction it needs to go.
I guess, or maybe I'm just like too idealistic, because like I also don't like it when I go to the hospital and I see like nurses smoking.
Okay.
You know, you're like, but you're supposed to be the epitome of health. That's why I'm coming here. You know what I mean? It's like we live in a very paradoxical world.
Yeah.
You know, like you expect an idealistic point of view or an idealistic set of values for certain industries, but they don't portray those, and that disenfranchises the rest of the world who has to follow them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but maybe they know that and they're choosing to still go ahead with it
because this is the best we have at the time.
No, I'm saying like for like nurses, like they know that. Of course they know that for smoking.
Yeah,
but they've chose to do that.
No, I know, and that's what I mean. But it's like
there's a level of like some won't, some do. Like it depends. That's the freedom that they have, their choice, right? But they need to know their job, what it is to do to take care of patients. That's the main thing.
So it's really we're just like a cluster of people. It's like LARPing, like live action role play. It's like we've all chosen to like LARP in a specific thing, but we're not actually that thing. Like our job is our LARP.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like whatever we choose to do for monetary things, that's us live action role playing what we need to do to get that money. Course. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I believe in this, but for this LARP role, I have to abandon that belief in order to get money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's, if you have like a system that places money above all things, maybe that's where we have our issues.
That's everywhere. Where do you not have money? Is it
the Mayans? If you have an abundance.
No, where are they?
They're dead.
Yeah,
because they were killed by the Spanish.
All right.
Who had money to kill people.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, the altruistic person will be beaten on the head by the person with the bigger stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we live in a greedy world, is what you're saying. This
of course.
Is very negative-ish. Like what? Where's the positive? Where's the love and the hope?
No, that's there within families. That's there.
You know?
Yeah. No, the world is a mixed bag of everything.
Circles. Where are my crystals?
No. There are people like that too.
Who get taken advantage of.
But they can. Yeah. But the yoga students still got to make money to survive.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's
gurus need to make money.
Yeah.
Bro, like, I mean, let me sell this online course for you to achieve
even with them, it's like you can go out and like live on the streets, but you gotta also go out, ask for food, and who's giving you the food? The people that are working.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, actually, that's so funny that you say that. Dionysus. I was listening to a podcast about Dionysus, and what they're saying is like he's like the ultimate punk rocker.
Okay.
Because he's like anti-establishment, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But then the person, Daniele Bolelli, love that guy, great podcaster. So he was saying like, I love these values of Dionysus because like, it's like, yeah, live to your own accord. Don't be attached to the world. It's very like Eastern mentality. But at the same time, he's like, but you are also begging people for money. Mm-hmm. So it's really, you're not actually living off your own hard work. You're living off of other people's hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you're still part of the system. Yeah, that's the annoying part. You can't escape it. I spend a lot of time with like spiritual people, who like believe in kumbaya. But like if you really look into it historically, it's not real.
Yeah.
We are all out for our own.
Well, you need the other people too, right? You need people that work for money. You need people. You need everyone to be in the world of the society, right? Those people who are living outside of society or like having those altruistic ideals, they could help people who are very like focused on work and not realizing that there's other things you can like to calm yourself in life or like bring you happiness and things like that. Like it's a mixed bag, but that's how the world is. But majority of the people are in the middle, right?
Right.
Family and work, and these are, you really want to take care of your family and that sort of things.
Being steered.
Yeah. Then there are the outskirts on one side who are super like leave society, and there's the other side who are like way too like overworked, right? And thinking that's the way to be, but like those are two extremes.
But you know what you just described? The voting system. Because you were just talking about how like you need to like attack the people who are undecided in the middle.
Yeah.
Because like the person who's extremely left and who's extremely right, they've already cast their vote. Yeah. So we need to focus on the people that are, what is it? What did you say?
Independence?
Independence, yeah. We need to attract those people.
Yeah.
But like those are the herd.
But those are the ones who know. Like those are the ones who have to pay bills. They understand like taxes or like.
So really just like a herd system. Like we're just like a giant organism.
We're animals anyways, so.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
That's how it works.
It's like a giant organism that's just moving to the
There's
sound.
no right or wrong. Again, it's just that's how it's flowing.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. It's like we're like moving to the hum of like our feelings, or not feelings, like our impulses.
Yeah. We're animals, so of course.
Yeah. That's depressing.
Why?
No, it's not depressing. No. It's just like there will never be a clear positive answer to that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Someone called that cynical, Vish. But do you know what cynic means? It comes from Dionysus.
Okay.
So cynic means dog.
Okay.
And Dionysus is the founder of cynicism.
Okay.
Although we call it like being negative now, what it meant was to live free like a dog.
Right. So
I guess we're both cynics because you're not swayed by general opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just found this whole thing entertaining, like in general, this world.
Yeah. Last two things quickly, because I wanted to cover this as well. The COVID death versus flu death. It's higher now, you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the idea, that it was going to be higher. They had a percentage, right? Like a rate of death or whatever it was.
But it's interesting because in the beginning I was like, oh, these numbers aren't. And then now we look at it now, it's like, oh yeah, they were right. Like science prevailed. Which sucks. Because the marketing was like, in the beginning it was like, oh, the flu deaths are higher than the COVID deaths. Like, yeah, but
who was doing this marketing?
People, like general, like.
Is that like, yeah, of
course.
Not
real, not like there are people like pro believers and like deniers.
Again,
right?
it's the same thing. You have the two extremes.
Right. Yeah. but then you have to look at it as well as like, because like I was on that like, oh, but the deaths are lower, so I was falling for that marketing. But then now it's like, oh, but now you actually have the data.
Yeah.
Like you have like enough data. The time has passed that we can actually
and it's still not gone yet.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I guess it is more but like you said, we need to look at the recovery rates as well.
There is a high amount of recovery rates, but
there's still more deaths.
There's more deaths. Yeah, of course. True. Overall, it's a pretty high amount.
It was like 1 million or something, right?
Close to.
And the flu deaths were not even close to that, right?
Flu deaths are 200 to 300 or 500 at least. Generally on a
500,000
worldwide.
Okay, for
that's
COVID,
the max range. It's 250 to 500.
Okay, and then COVID is like nearing 1 million.
It's nearing 1 million already.
Okay, so it's like way over.
Yeah.
So it's almost like double.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's something we need to take seriously.
Of course.
So you hear that? Take COVID seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, and final thing, herd immunity. Do you think it's ethical? We're talking about that. We're talking about ethics.
Yeah.
Because Sweden did it, right?
Yeah. Their
But-
actions were very
but-
in that line.
But they also have like a smaller population.
No.
And-
But you have to look at it per capita wise.
Or, but you also have to look at it in terms of how much they support world economies. So if this went bust, it's nobody gonna care. It's like Sweden doesn't really import export enough. I mean, they make Swiss watches.
I don't know
But, like-
what it like. I don't know exactly all their economic wise. I'm looking at it per capita. If I look at it that way, they do have the highest in the Denmark nation, like in the, what do you call them? Nations?
EU?
Scandinavian nations.
Okay.
They are the highest
Oh, okay.
per capita,
Okay.
right? It's like,
And they pioneered the herd immunity.
yeah, they didn't say
Right.
herd immunity, but they were like,
Their actions were.
their
in line
actions
with
were
herd
kind of like
immunity.
that, yeah.
You know why they didn't say herd immunity? Because the marketing would have been bad.
It's bad.
People would have been pretty pissed. Yeah.
But they did encourage older folks to stay home, and like young people like to follow this, but don't go see old people. Don't go see your grandparents. Like,
Okay.
There
There
were
were some like
of course, yeah.
there were some things.
There
in
was
place.
messaging
Yeah,
to
okay.
protect citizens, but like they still have a high number. Now, if they did reach the herd immunity, their numbers would start dropping. Like they've reached their max.
And have they?
At the moment, it looks like that.
Okay.
So we don't like until the whole thing is done. Then only you will know if it was successful or not. Because if like Denmark and Sweden, we were talking about Sweden is the right one. Like Denmark or whatever other countries are near them, if their numbers end up being low at the end of all this, then Sweden didn't. It was not a good decision what they did.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like you don't know if it's good right now or not.
We need more time.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before, but yeah.
But do you think that is? I mean, I guess ethics are really what's allowable at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what's ethical today is not ethical tomorrow, and what's ethical in the past is not ethical.
Or morals, right? I guess is that morals?
They're similar.
Yeah.
I'd say like morals are more like individual, but they can stretch to collective. But ethics, well, actually, ethics are also they're similar. I guess there'd be synonyms.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wonder. Like, do you think, like, not to sound callous, but it's like if you just can't do anything and you're just like herd immunity, like essentially.
There are
what
some countries
America's-
that were like that.
Yeah. So it's like you're like maybe it's not an ethical or non-ethical question. Maybe it's just like a reality of the situation kind of thing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's disagreements with what Trump has done.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's like, what do you do? Like, you can't just kill the economy either.
Sure, yeah, totally. It's unprecedented, et cetera, et cetera.
Like, you could have, like, their thinking was if you close it down, it's like you would have more ramifications later on for the economy, like in Sweden, that would cause more problems.
Right.
And possibly more debts. You don't know.
Right.
Suicidal rates will go up, and these other things will go up.
Yeah. Indirect.
Yeah.
Not actually related to COVID. Well, no, not directly related to COVID, but like tangentially related. Yeah.
So where do you?
It's funny. I was like super optimistic in the beginning of this, and then I got like pessimistic. But now I just like I'm confused, right? Like in the beginning, it seems so clear cut. It's like they're gonna have this under control, and they started not having it under control. It's like but what about the recession that's to come? But then now I'm like in this zone of like confusion because it's like you're rewriting laws every day.
Mm-hmm.
What do we take as solid ground? You know what I'm saying?
We'll have to do as we go. We don't know. This thing is new to everybody, so.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, yeah, it's like actually completely unprecedented.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sort of Spanish flu.
Well, yeah,
but we didn't have like
in modern time.
We
modern
didn't have
day.
like world economies like we have today.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How do you think it all ends?
Oh.
What I'm surprised with is I'm surprised at how well we can adapt. Combat sports, like
Mm-hmm.
they adapted. Sports in general, they adapted. You know, as a society, I think like
No, we are. I mean, it is very like how fast we are. It's like if someone is caught with it in an area, okay, we'll shut down this area for 2 weeks. No one, like for
Yeah.
schools, like no one will come to school for 2 weeks.
Actually, this one's kind of freaky. Speaking of being caught and then shutting down an area, so like my cousin in the Philippines, he was saying that COVID's breaking out there in his like town, and they believed that it's a part of the slums. Like they're like, oh, the COVID's there, so it's gonna spread in the slums. So what they did is they locked down the slums. Nobody can go in or out of the slums for 14 days. And he's like, it's like freaking
Well, yeah, I understand that they're doing it by district.
that was the thing. Yes,
It's
that's
district lockdowns.
That's the exact word he used. He's
Yeah.
like, it's like the movie District 13 or something. He's like, isn't that free? That's so wild. Like, it's come to this. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's like that in India too. Some parts, like this district is zone green or whatever or red. So
but you were
it's
also
closed
saying
off.
that it's like, see, is that ethical? Like, even that one is like,
No,
it's
it is.
questionable.
No, I think so. Like if it's red,
about
it's like okay,
freedoms?
well, everyone has to stay home.
No,
Huh?
but freedoms, right? Like, you're
Oh
like,
yeah, but you have to give up those things.
that's
for
what it
the-
means. Is
For
like,
the
so is that ethical? Because it's like, you said we're free. We're not really free.
well, not under this sort of circumstances. No,
Yeah.
like they have to, like here now and on Toronto, I guess not on all of Ontario. Toronto's like you have to shut down the restaurants earlier.
Oh, true. Yeah, actually, yeah, even
Right.
looking at it like that, economically, we're not free. I think like
Yeah. But like because we have to take these actions. If you don't, it's going to get worse, right? So
right.
if you take these actions for a limited time, then we can start to come back to normal.
But see, again, it's like this whole COVID thing is really shining a light in the cracks in the system. It's like, oh, you thought it was this way? No, not really. Like, oh, we told you that you were free? Not really. I mean, I get it. It's like for the betterment of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
but like, or like,
Well, then you can say that America was always free because it ain't no lockdowns there.
true. Yeah, they stuck to their the home of the free, land of the brave. It took a whole new meaning. Yeah, it hits different.
Yeah, that's why they have the most debts.
Yeah, that's true. Land of the free. Do whatever you want. Home of the brave because COVID's right there.
And and that's why we have those numbers in America.
True. That's so trippy. I guess, yeah, you could say they stick to their guns.
Yeah, but like we're protecting citizens. It's like it's a bit, how do you look at it?
Framing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
all of life, right?
Yeah.
Life is just a framing process.
Yeah. Does the country care for its citizens or not?
It's true.
For the lives of its citizens or not? It comes down to that too.
Which, see, and then again, push comes to, because, you know what it is? In martial arts, they say like, well, especially Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they say like, you don't really know somebody until you spar them because you'll see what they'll do to win, right? Like if we're rolling, it's so funny because it's really like Chrome Gracie said this. He's like, just let me roll with you for 10 minutes. I'll know exactly who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then like really watching it and watching like at our jiu-jitsu place, the person's like, okay, you can't stand. That's one of the handicaps. And then I see people standing and I'm like, oh, because you want to win. It's more important for you to win by any means than to listen to the rules.
Right.
But see what I mean? It's like showing you who you are as a person. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
COVID's doing that. It's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
putting our backs against the wall, and it's like, well, which countries are actually looking out for people? Which ones are not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you want to know the truth. There's a huge cost, and the cost is to know the truth. Yeah. Good and bad for this whole COVID thing. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I don't know where it's gonna go, but yeah.
All right. Last thing. Can you actually say that you don't know where it's gonna go? Because how like before it's like oh no, it's just gonna fix itself. Oh no, it's just gonna go to hell. But now we're like actually like, oh, we actually really don't know how this is gonna end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm feeling that too.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about the confusion. It's like I can't call
Because we
it
don't have an
now.
answer. We don't have an answer. That's why.
Like before this, it was like you had a path, And then like because of the changing, whether the path ended good or bad, you at least had a path. But now it's like we were really
We have to
with
know where
no path.
we're just
Like one thing that could be crazy out of this, like what I've been saying is like if China starts taking over, then what if all the North American countries band together economically, so we become one unified country, like a EU? I guess we kind of have that with NAFTA, but like more specific. You know, like we all have one currency within, you know, U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
yeah.
That could happen. Like before, it was
Yeah.
like that's never gonna happen, but now it's like that's actually kind of on the table. Like we don't know economically what would happen.
Yeah.
Post this.
Yeah. That's the worst case scenario, I guess. I don't know. I just
Right? It's
I
like,
understand what you're
whoa.
saying. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
You really don't know.
Yeah.
Like you can come out of this with a whole new world.
Sure. Yeah.
And like when people say like the new normal, it's like really I believe that
Yeah.
now. I didn't believe that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and like midway through, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess so. But now I'm like, no, this is really changing things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's only been 6 months
Yeah.
since the lockdown. March,
Right.
April, May, June, July, August, September. 7 months.
Almost. Yeah. Yeah. 7 months starting. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are happy you're along with the ride with us, all of you listeners, and sorry for ignorant comments that might have been made during this, and non-ignorant comments.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Till next time. Pick up your tees and our accessories, zenrealclothingco.com. Be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. And if you're not into spending the money because job life is hard right now, just check out the free Zenreal radio playlist, zenrealclothingco.com. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, so if you ever heard Armchair Experts, and at the end of their podcast, they always do like a fact check section. I felt like we continued the conversation after that podcast, and we like actually looked at some numbers because I said some things in there, and I was like, was I correct in my speculation? And although you'll never know the actual answer to these things because you can never get the full correct answer, right, Vish?
Yeah. Like what we're talking about specifically.
Is like did ethnicity and like so it's broken down into, like, we're talking about politics, so like it's broken down into parties and the person, and what we kind of alluded to is politics influenced by ethnicity and just how the game rolls, right? So I'll let you, well, actually I'll go first. So we googled it, and the ethnicity of the person who won in that riding had the most,
The majority
of in all of Toronto.
Right.
That's where they reside.
Yeah.
Of this ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important to state, but also at the same time, correlation, causation. But then we'll go into Vish's thing, and then that's kind of where we get the whole perfect storm thing go. But the actual voting.
So it ended up being like 55% in that district voted, and the breakdown of that, he got 16,000 votes, and the closest person was 15,000.
Yeah, and when I spoke about like the ethnicity thing, the
like it could be like both those things together. So there was a uptick for PC party to win, or there was like right place, right time, and he also has like a greater population of his community there.
Yeah, exactly. So there's two factors. It's like your ethnicity is the greatest in that region, and also the liberal votes were being split because they didn't like what the liberals were doing. So people who voted for liberals, some of them voted for NDP, right? Yeah. And NDP was the one who got the second highest voting.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I was wrong in, because remember we were like, oh, but the other candidate was black, and it's like, but I was like, yeah, but does that actually, because that majority area is not of that ethnicity, but the person got the second highest votes next to this person.
Yeah.
Who won.
Yes.
Where his ethnicity is
right.
the majority in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the majority of his ethnicity, but still, I'd say the ethnicity of our area is
Like
predominantly
you're
Caucasian.
basically, we're asking the question is like, did the ethnicity play into factor here as well as being a conservative? So that helped him win, even though it's 1,000 vote difference.
It's because the liberal vote was split.
Right.
But you had asked me if he was liberal, would he have won? I said no. Right. And you're like, okay, but then it's not a race thing. I'm like, no, but it can still be a race thing because that's a factor in why people would vote.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we asked the question in the podcast, what would make like a perfect government? Because like this one's not really working, and like how do you make an objective government?
I don't want to say it's not working.
Well, it has cracks.
Sure.
Like we've seen through the whole COVID thing, and like just like generally looking into it, there's cracks. But the proposition now is, what if you vote on issues, not parties? Because you might like a conservative issue and a liberal issue, but you can't vote for both.
Yeah.
So it's like, but if you vote for one issue, you got to take all the other issues. So it's kind of like what are you willing to sacrifice in order to gain? You know, but that's only because we work off of a team system. But what if there was no teams? It was just like you presented your issues and then we voted on a specific issue.
Well, I guess that's why people don't vote. So in this spirit, it's like 55% showed up to vote.
Yeah, which is another thing. So it's like the fact that only 55% voted, it's like, what about the other 45%?
Because they didn't have, where they wanted their alignment, I guess, was not in any of those parties. Because totally. They don't agree with 100% everything about specific
but I feel like that's the new generation. That could be also why people don't vote. But like we were saying as well offline, that the quickest way to make democracy work is to vote. Because if you vote, then at least your issue's being heard. And I mean, like you and I voted, so we're in that category. Because it would be like kind of hypocritical to be like, oh, this system doesn't work. Did you vote? No. But it's like, no, we did vote. But the reason why we voted was so it's like the reason why I voted in my direction is because of one issue. I ignored all the other issues.
Yeah.
Same with you. You're like, oh, I voted because of this issue. Yeah. Right. And it's like,
because that's the only issue that I
mattered to you.
Mattered to me.
But it's like, but why do you have to take a party with an issue? Why can't we just vote on issues? But one of the reasons why is because how do politicians make money? They're part of a party. Yeah, so you're basically taking out somebody's livelihood if you just voted for issues.
No, we've already gone in the direction of having parties or having politicians and stuff. Like, can a government exist where you just vote on issues? Like,
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's ever been done like that. Like, do people do enough to understand the different policies and
totally,
stuff, right?
But back in the day, they didn't have internet. So now the access is there. We can actually vote individually on issues because you could just log in, just like we did the CERB thing. Like they proved that, you know, people can log in and access CERB. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why can't you log in and vote? You know? Yeah. Why do you have to physically go into a place?
Right. I don't know how... I don't know all the intricacies of like how this stuff
the reason why I brought up the online thing though is because you're like, well, how often do you vote? I'm like, it should just be every time an issue comes up. It's like, do you guys want this? We're like, even monthly, it doesn't really matter. If you can just log in and change it, it's like that's like
so like
access.
Basically majority, like I want to talk about like Bernie is like majority of the American population agree with Bernie's policies, right? But he's not a Democrat.
Exactly. So it's like you're not a part of the team. Yeah. So it's like, why? That's the thing. It's like team mentality.
Yeah, I've seen like where they do polls on specific policies, and you would get agreement on both sides. I'm talking about conservative and the Democrats, both sides, or Republicans and Democrats, both sides agreeing on the same stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Exactly. But it's like, but what are the other things that come along with that party?
Yeah.
It's like,
so that's why some people don't vote for that reason.
Yeah, so it should just be it should just be policies issue. Like, we should vote on those.
Right.
That makes the most sense.
But it does come down to that too. It's like it's like you don't agree with all the policies, and then
because
they do sell it if you look at it like it's like what are the policy they're focusing on this year or this term or whatever
totally.
it is. So like that's kind of what generally happens. That's why it keeps shifting left or right.
And I think, yeah, totally. And I think that's why I have my gripe with the flawed system, because I'm like, how did this person get into this position of power? You know, they didn't even show up to the debate. It's like that seems kind of weird.
Right.
You know, you'd expect your leader to be punctual and like listen to all of your stuff. Like, what would you expect from a leader, right? But if you win solely because of like default values, then it's doesn't seem objective to me.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the poll numbers probably showed like he's already in the lead, or he has a very high chance of winning.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't need to go.
yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, say take the day off, you know. But it's like, but what is that? Do you not care about the issue enough to like even,
right?
You know, yeah, I don't know. I think I've like mentioned this particular case like a few times, but I think it's like the perfect example of why I have an issue with the system, because it seems like how are these people getting like for example Trump, like how did you get into, but we know how he did it. You know, he like gamed it well. But if you're voting on issues or policies, not people or teams, then it doesn't matter what tricks you play.
Well, the idea was not voting for a team. He was not part of the Republican team.
Okay, so then, but isn't he?
No. So he ran under the Republican banner, but because he was not part of the establishment, that's why he won.
Okay. Like,
because you face so many other people. Throughout the primaries.
But again, like talking about systems, he didn't win the majority vote.
As a population, no.
Yeah, he just won
over the public.
He just won the correct seats.
The electoral college votes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't seem correct either. It's like, how can you have your...
That's not a real democracy when you have electoral
That's
college
what I mean.
votes.
That's what I mean.
know.
That's what
I know that.
Right. That's not a true democracy. Yeah, actually, that's what it is. And that's why I have an issue with like even our governing system, because it's like, that's not really a democracy if you're voting for teams. You're not actually focusing on the specifics. You're focusing on like team sports, you know?
Yeah, but you're voting on... That's why it shifts, right?
But
people agree with this. Or
it's not... I would say it's not like population run, because like the idea of a democracy is like people vote to get their way, right? But it's like, no, we vote on people who will tell us what we get and we don't get.
Yeah, but they run on policies, right? So that's what you...
But what if you like one... The reason why it's flawed is like, what if you like one policy but not another?
Yeah.
But if they win, you gotta take the good and the bad.
You're weighing them out, which is what you want and what you're willing to lose.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's flawed.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But overall, I think it's better than a lot of other places. So
it's the best we got with what we got.
We just gotta deal with it.
We just gotta like evolve past it. You know, now that we have the internet,
right?
Maybe COVID will make us do that. Like, what if people can't vote? What if we were pushed to an election, but then they're like, but how would we get people to vote? Then they have to invent online voting.
Yeah.
And then we realize online voting works. Yeah. Maybe.
We could see an increase in voting.
Yeah. Imagine if like 100% people voted because it's online.
Right. But I don't think it's going to be 100%.
But you mean
it'll
like...
be a high percentage.
Yeah, what if it's like 80%? It's already a lot. And they're like, wow, we should really just do online voting.
Yeah. It's generally down to like, it's really... I think it was like that too in America. It's like the more people vote, Democrats tend to win. If people don't vote...
But there's other things that Democrats or even liberals we don't like.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, why do you have to take the good with the bad? Why can't you just take the good in every single category? Yeah. It's because of team sports. In-group, out-group mentality.
Yeah, there's a portion of that, yeah. Then there's independents, right? That's the ones...
Yeah, but even the independent one... No, but what I'm saying is like, even the independent one... You mean the people that run as independents? Or you mean... Okay.
Who can go either way.
Yeah, but even with that, it's like, you still have to go with them for all policies or no policies? Because they get the power.
No, I know.
Right? It shouldn't be a team power. It should be like an individual case by case.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just, with the parliamentarian system, it's a bit different than a version of a democracy under parliamentarian versus... It's different in America.
I could see I could see us in the future getting away from that.
Okay.
But we would
I
probably
don't
need
know.
a smaller
Someone would
population.
how would, yeah.
No, we need like a smaller population.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Or you have to
maybe,
do it by district by district.
or what if Elon Musk, bear with me on this one. What if Elon Musk occupies Mars, he renames it Europa,
Okay.
and then decides to establish a new form of governance?
Uh-huh. Rename it Europa?
Yeah, because we're watching Watchmen right now.
Yeah.
So that's...
Why would you rename Mars Europa?
Yeah. Because isn't like Europa like the perfect planet or something like that?
Well, it's
Google
potential for life.
Europa.
No,
Europa.
I know. It's a
means-
moon.
What?
It's a moon that goes around Jupiter.
But no, the word Europa,
Oh, what it means.
yeah, actually means something like utopia, maybe, or maybe they're just...
Probably. Europa meaning?
It means none of that. I was just totally wrong.
I think so. Which meant
EUROPA
yeah, EUROPA
means
wide face, meaning
Bruh.
face. In Greek mythology, Europa was a Phoenician. I don't know how to say that. Princess who was abducted and taken by.
okay. Well, that's not even related. No, I've heard of that before, or whatever. Well, all right. So
Okay.
he decides to create a utopia on Mars. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. He decides to create
Maybe
like
utopia. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so he renames it, and then he's like, it'd be the perfect system of governance if we voted on issues rather than parties, because they're so small on Mars that the policies that they place, they can start perfectly. They're like, we're not going to focus on the negatives that we have on Earth. This is a new planet.
Maybe
a
it
new
was.
world.
Maybe it started like that. Like I don't know. Like it started off based on policies, right? Like
What do you mean?
one or two policies a person. Like you still have to vote for a.
Oh, because he's pushing the policy.
Yeah.
Oh, so what you're saying is like...
Then it eventually just becomes a party.
Right, because one man can't come up with, or one woman can't come
Yeah.
up with all of the issues. So I have some great ideas on transportation. Okay, join my party. I have some great ideas on education. Okay,
Yeah.
join my party.
Yeah. Maybe it just, even though we go like that, it's just going to end up becoming a party again.
Oh,
We will just, it's always
maybe.
going to be groups. We will always do that.
Wow.
That's a
okay.
human thing to do.
No, but if from the jump we just vote on policies,
I know, I understand what you're saying.
then you wouldn't have groups. It would just be like...
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Like,
That would be a true democracy. Dude, that's actually like a true democracy.
Right.
If they're like, should we have money on Mars? Yay or nay? But there's only 5 of them, so it's like, it doesn't really matter. But then as it like expands, yeah, maybe we'll have to default to... Maybe when it gets
too
big...
much of a population. I don't know. These sort of things.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But that'd be a cool future.
Yeah.
If they abandon Earth.
But
or
if
like,
you end up, even if that happens, it's like, but if you end up still having like aristocracy, like people rich and poor, and
Yeah.
you're going to have parties.
or it's
you're
like
gonna
Elysium, like the movie. Instead of like the higher platform, which is the
Right.
rich people, it's like the people that live on Mars and the people that live on Earth.
Yeah.
And Earth is like a wasteland.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of interesting. Well, movie ideas. Okay, yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I thought this was important for us
Some
to
fact checking.
Yeah, to bring back, because like that podcast kind of left it open ended.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy, Vish.
Bye.